The stakeholder interview is an amazing tool for anyone to know their role in the institution from the eyes or the perspective of the key stakeholders. A stakeholder is one who is positively or negatively impacted by your actions or inactions, decisions or indecisions. So, if you are a faculty member at an institution, your students are your key stakeholders. And then your head of department, your colleagues, with the deans, with the director, and your research collaborator, the important people in the funding agencies, and the companies that may give you consultancy projects. If it is a business organization, your customers are your most important stakeholders, and then your boss, the people who report to you, your team members, and so on. If it is a family, then your spouse, your children, as the case may be, parents, your siblings, or some of the key stakeholders. If you completely understand the expectations of the key stakeholders, then your effectiveness and productivity can increase significantly, and your satisfaction level also. So the first step in a stakeholder interview is to choose who are your key stakeholders that you want to interview, and tell them the purpose of the interview and take time from them specifically for this, some 30 to 45 minutes. It's preferably done in person, and where it is definitely not possible, then you may do it over a telephone. And this must necessarily be done with an open mind, open heart, and open will, keeping aside your voice of judgment about the person, the voice of cynicism, and your voice of fear. And also, you need to have a good rapport with the person, an atmosphere of good relatedness, without which the interview will not serve its purpose. So, if your interaction with that person has been mainly transactional so far, and you have not created a relationship at the level of the heart, then probably that is the first thing you need to do before even you attempt a stakeholder interview. So the first question to ask is, what is your most important objective? It's like, what is your ultimate dream? Or what is it that you want to really create? You need to give sufficient time and space for the person to think and answer. Getting the deepest answer for this question is like mining gold. When you start digging for gold, initially you may not get gold. You may get mud, stones, maybe some other matter and so on, but you don't get disappointed. You keep digging till you encounter gold. Similarly, every human being has a gold inside them. So when you ask this question, what is your most important objective? In some cases, the very first response may be just from the surface. Then you need to ask appropriate and related questions like, why is it important for you? Tell me more about it. And what is available for other people, and so on, till they dig deep into their mind and get the gold out of their own mind. which leaves them inspired. So that is why you need to ask this in an atmosphere of open heart and open mind, where they are able to open their heart and respond to you. So give them sufficient time and space to think. If they are silent for some time, it means they are thinking. Don't disturb the silence by asking some quick questions. That silence is golden. They're actually going deeper into themselves and getting out their most important objective, because this question is not usually asked in most places. So you need to be really patient and be clear that there is gold in that person. That's why you need to keep aside your judgments and opinions, cynicism and resignation, and the fear of what they might say, and so on. So once you are clear about what is their most important objective, then the next question to ask is, how can I help you realize that objective? Or what do you need me for? As you can clearly see, this question is asked from your heart. You are really open to help that person achieve their objective. Once again, this is a very, very rare question asked in any organization, any institution. Give them time and space and help them with additional questions if needed. So they come up with what do they expect from you in terms of some help to pursue their goals, their objectives in the institution. A great institution is one in which every faculty member and every other team member gets an opportunity and support to freely pursue their most important objectives. Of course, they also need to make sure they are contributing equally towards the most important objective of the institution. So it's both ways. That's why you need to conduct this stakeholder interview with your bosses to whom you report and with the people who report to you. So once you are clear about the help that is expected from them, you can look at it, and if you are clear that it is something that you can easily do and you want to do, you can tell them yes. But there is no compulsion on your part that you need to say yes. You are just trying to understand the real expectations. If you need to take some time to think over what they said, you can tell them that, I need some time to look into it. I'll come back to you within whatever time period you say. But if you promise to do that and you are clear that you can easily do it, then the next question to ask is, what is the criteria you will use to assess whether my contribution to your work has been successful? So you again make them think deep. So they are not only asking you help in a particular direction, they're also thinking deep and making it clear to both sides what kind of help is needed and when they will think it really forwards their objective. So you are trying to ask some objective measures by which they will look at it and say that yes, this was really useful to me. So as you can see, this entire interview is conducted in an atmosphere of generative listening. You are trying to get the highest possibility of that person. So the final question to ask is, if I were to change two things in my area of responsibility, what two things will create maximum value or benefit for you? Again, this is asked from an open will. You are ready to change your thinking or way of doing things if it is really going to forward the other person's objective. If you really ask this question from your heart, it will move the other person. Once again, there is no compulsion to say yes here because we are not sure what they will really be expecting. So if it is fair and meaningful, you are clear, you can say yes. Otherwise, you can take some time to think about it and tell them that you will come back and answer that question for them where it is possible for you and so on. Either way, it makes things very transparent and clear for both sides. So this is the generic overview of the stakeholder interview. So it basically gives you clarity on multi-directional, expectations, objectives, goals, etc. in the institution and creates much better workability. For example, if a faculty member wants to collaborate with another researcher, usually we are very clear what we expect from the other person to contribute in terms of the research project or whatever. But many a times we may not be aware what the other person will expect from us to contribute, which will be of benefit to them in that collaboration. So this conducting this kind of stakeholder interview on both sides will make things very, very clear and transparent on both sides and brings a lot of workability, satisfaction, an atmosphere of healthy atmosphere in which everybody brings their heart, soul, and brain and create a vibrant atmosphere to work. Thank you.